I think we're going to see a lot of quicker time to development. We're going to see new novel molecular designs. We're going to see a lot more in the personalized medicine space. We're going to see a lot in drug repurposing. We almost invested in a company. They couldn't end up raising a sufficient round for a seed round that was repurposing a drug that has been around and been used since 1975. And they were just repurposing the delivery pathway. And it was two founders, MIT and Harvard, a known drug, been around since FDA approved and used since 75 for this particular use case. They were repurposing how the drug was going to be delivered. They couldn't raise the money. So it's even, again, back with the best idea, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be able to fundraise and bring your idea to fruition. I think there's going to be a lot in optimized manufacturing processes with AI, drug targeted identification, advanced product design. There's so many use cases where AI and digital transformation are going to happen. And I really, really, really hope that we see exponential leaps in scientific advances from AI and digital transformation that are going to lead to eventually like healthier lifestyles, breakthrough advancements in new medicines and treatments and therapies, all to combat chronic illness and chronic disease.
Yeah. I mean, I'm seeing so many amazing things on the AI front as well. We were talking before the show kicked off. I mean, we use AI pretty extensively. We use it to, more or less construct like private AI for, for our clients so that they have a way of really understanding, kind of what's going on in the digital space for them in terms of marketing, but also, more broadly, how can I write and implement content that, targets some of the things that I can help with, and so, I know I've had clients just say that, they're amazed sometimes at the level of, content that can be created from them, from something that just understands the world. I could only imagine, I mean, and dream of some of the things that, we must be, utilizing on the drug development side, because it's not really where I spend, the greater majority of my time isn't spent in that world, but it is an amazing space. And I'm looking forward to seeing like the overall impact that all of us, I think, that are looking for.
Yeah. We have a friend and neighbor who works at Big Pharma. His company's investing $2 billion a year on AI for drug discovery. It's a huge R&D expense, but it can bring that much long-term benefit in expediting drug development, drug testing, taking it through FDA trials and bringing it to market. But we're seeing even on the non-life science side, we've invested in a couple of companies which are doing awesome stuff, like super simple, right? Super simple. We invested in a company called NDA-OK. CEO James Weir, great guy, lawyer, got burned out, started being an operator in a SaaS company, which we love. And then he said, hey, I think that if I create a company that does AI reviews of NDAs, I could do this all day in and out. And he found a niche, and the company is growing like crazy right now. And he's found his niche. He's got different verticals that he goes after, and he takes in NDAs. He does a review, meets with the client, asks them, what are they looking for in their NDA, trains the AI model, and they're processing AIs for a fraction of what it would cost to send to these big $1,000 an hour firms, and it's pumping them out much quicker too. We invested in another company called Medida AI, super cool technology. The CEO brought in former Israeli defense IT guys to create the product, and they're doing something that's not really going to help people, but it just helps process. So they typically, when you want to get new windows or doors, and if you ever put new windows or doors in, we put a new door in. So you have to take 3 measurements. You have to measure from top to top across. You have to measure from the middle to the middle and the bottom to the bottom. And sometimes it's like a 1/2 inch or 1/4 of an inch off. And so when you do it yourself, you got to send the measurements in. They cut a door for you. They send you the door back. You hope it fits. When you have a salesman who comes to your house, the process for getting new doors or windows, salesman comes to the house. Okay, I see the house. I got 10 windows on the outside. I got 5 windows on the inside. I got 3 doors we're going to replace. I'll send a measure in the next week. They send a measure in the next week. Well, I don't know if you're a customer journey life cycle, but the more time that happens in the customer journey lifestyle, the life cycle, the desire and the want wanes, and you have less of a chance of closing a deal. And so there's a 7 to 10 day lapse between the time the salesman gets there and the time the measurer gets there. Well, they created a company where they take a picture of your door or your window, and within millimeters that can be filled with caulk, they get the exact measurements of the door or window. So now the salesman comes to your house, he looks at all your doors or windows, he takes a snapshot of it, he gets the exact measurements right there, he quotes you out, and he pushes you to close the sale.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just crazy. I mean, it's really incredible how AI can change not only in our business, life science and biotech, but just in so many other businesses. We invest in another business. One of my favorite entrepreneurs we met with, and in fund one, we really focused on betting on the entrepreneur. We'd all been entrepreneurs. We knew the DNA of a good entrepreneur. We met with this guy, and he's David Navama, building a company called Storyline. Super cool. And he's an amazing entrepreneur, already had an exit. And he told us a story that when he started his first company, it was a marketing company like yours. He had one of the largest, fastest growing first to market froyo chains. Okay. The first yogurt, you go pour your yogurt,
Sure.
stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So he had this froyo chain. And over the first year of the company doing business, the froyo chain, they grew from 1 store to 100 stores in the first year. I mean, exponential, massive growth. It was his biggest client. And over the course of the year, he and his business partner had formed this marketing playbook that they knew was valuable, but they had one client that was sucking up all their time. So he looks to this is right out of a textbook, entrepreneur's textbook. He says one day to his business partner, we need to fire this company. And the business partner said, what are you talking about? This is 85% of our revenue. He's like, yeah, but we have this playbook, and we could take this playbook and we could expand it to 100 other companies and quadruple the size of our business. But we're so focused on this one company. So he went out and did it. He fired his biggest client, and then he grew the company to a lot of money and had a very, very, very nice exit. But you got these, and then he built a company on AI. He's now building a company, Storyline, where they're taking complex data sets for insurance companies, or you ever received a brokerage statement, you're like, I have no idea what any of this means, where you get your homeowner's insurance policy and it's got 40 pages with caveats and outliers and outline. This is too complicated for me. So he's able to ingest that structured data, and then he turns it into a 3 to 4 minute YouTube video that State Farm or whoever your insurance company would send it back to you, explaining your full policy in 3 minutes.
Wow.
Super cool. I mean, using AI to do the whole thing, and he's got tremendous traction with banks and investment companies and insurance companies. But these are the amazing people and entrepreneurs who are finding niches, using technologies and solving real world problems, in our space and in other spaces. And there's just so much cool innovation going on, so much cool stuff going on. It's amazing.
Very cool. So I would imagine, Josh, in your career, right, that you've probably had lots of different experiences with lots of different companies. And one of the curiosities that I have around portfolio companies and things like that is that, I mean, if I were to look at any successful private equity firm or any successful venture capital firm, you guys at some level have figured out this recipe of looking at a company, understanding where it fits in your overall portfolio. How do you then match their measurements or their OKRs to try and get all this stuff to align? It's just one of those things that's been in my mind for an awfully long time. I'd love to hear how you think about aligning those capabilities or aligning key metrics inside of a company.